Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Let me entice you with tales of a place where you can gain unlimited powers, where solo or with friends, you can kill hordes of enemies. And finally, after much time of blood and sweat and tears and hopefully laughter, you face the big, bad, the boss of bosses, and you slay the beast. And with blood still on your blades, you claim your prize from the beast's great treasure hoard and get nothing. Now many will say, Grim, old bean, you really need to narrow down what exactly you're talking about, because right now that could apply to raiding or M+, or really any content in Shadowlands, maybe with the exception of PvP. But I am in fact referring to Torghast. Torghast is fast becoming for many the hot Tinder date that you couldn't wait to meet. But when you finally do, you get your ear chewed off for 2 hours of complete boredom that you never wish to repeat again. I will say here and now, I like Torghast, but in the same way that I love WoW. But I'm not without seeing its faults and its issues. Torghast, like all WoW content in recent years, tends to favour some and hurt others. That's just the nature of the beast. Are you one of those static turret style classes? Well, then you're going to be out of luck, because you belong to old WoW and not new, fast, shoo WoW. Welcome to the new WoW, that favours pressuring players into making mistakes rather than giving them time and rewarding execution. Actually, to be fair, that sentence is worthy of its own video, which I will do in time thinking about it. But the long and the short is that Torghast is a time sink, even for the very best of classes and the best of players. And now with the release of Twisting Corridors, that time sink has the potential to reach crazy levels, and yet, we have 0 progression rewards from it. Now what I mean by that is rewards that progress our character further. And currently in WoW, there is one way to do that, and that is gear, loot, eye level. And so, players have to ask themselves, why would I do Torghast? Now yes, some will say there is cosmetic rewards, there's amounts. Great. And once I have them, then truly what is the reason to go back? And that is strange, given the amount of focus and effort that went into Torghast on Blizzard's behalf. And bear in mind, I'm primarily talking about the Twisting Corridors here. Getting Soul Ash from the normal Torghast is fine. That's fine. Goes towards my legendaries, I get that. But from content where players are expected to really put more time in than some guilds do into their raid nights, and at the end of that gaining nothing for your efforts, it's shocking that Blizzard think that's okay, that's fine. Now I've always been a fan of risk-reward. The greater the risk, the greater the reward should be. That's why LFR should give far less gear than Mythic raids do. That's why an M+2 should give less than a +15. We all know that. But if we break it down and look at both raiding and the Mythic Plus, if you fail a boss in a raid, it takes less than sort of, say, 10 minutes. You fail, you reset, you go again, and you keep pulling. Now yes, it may take you hundreds of pulls, but there is, hopefully, a sense of progression, that we're getting that little bit closer each time, that there will be a reward once you have overcome this hurdle. And that's part of the achievement, that's part of the satisfaction of getting that kill. And hopefully when you kill the boss you get some loot, but if you don't, at least especially now in Shadowlands, the kills you've done before, if you didn't get loot there, it will all count towards your chest. In Mythic Plus, failure still grants a chest. You still potentially get an item from the Great Vault, as well as from the end of the dungeon. And it takes about 30 minutes, let's say. Now let's talk Twisting Corridors. A single run, if well geared and lucky on your Anima, could take 30, 45 minutes, something like that. If you are not well geared and get less than great Anima powers, then strap in and enjoy the ride, because you're going to be here for a while. My first run of Torghast, or the Twisting Corridors, sorry, took over 2.5 hours on my 170 eye level Blood DK. And if at any time I'd crashed or I'd failed on a boss, that was the end of my run. I could have literally failed on the last boss and got nothing for that time investment. Torghast literally asks of us the most precious thing that we as players have to offer World of Warcraft, and that is our time. For most, long gone are the days when you can sit online from 10 AM until 4 AM the following day. Most players have a couple of hours a week at best to play. And in that time, they all want to get as many things as they can sorted. They all need to do their callings. They all want to upgrade gear from world quests if they're at that level. Push to get their Maw quests done and their Anima quests so that they can gain renown and see the story progression. Maybe try and get a quick M+ in so they can get their chests for the week. We're not even going to include raiding in this. They, of course, are going to need to get their 2 Torghast runs done because they want to keep their Lego up to date. That's already a lot for a casual player to want to do. That's already a lot there's a lot of time investment. Then twisting corridors looms into view like this lumbering behemoth. They want the mount, of course, because potentially that's going to make the Maw a place that they actually want to go? Probably not. But they still want the mount. And now you are expecting them to invest hours into this one activity that rewards nothing of note. Bar that mount, bar of course titles and cosmetics. But once they've got that, there's nothing there for them. There's no investment. But enough of moaning. Enough of that. You did say, Grim, you're going to be positive. Come on, 2021, you can do this. So, with that in mind, I actually have 2 ideas that I think will work within the current systems of Shadowlands. Yes, I've no doubt there are far better ideas for actually how Torghast could feel rewarding and what it could do, but I wanted to focus on things that could be added simply in a nice little patch rather than expect Blizzard to rebuild the whole of the expansion. Now, idea number 1. Now, this to me is probably the simplest solution and one that is relatively easy to add and control from Blizzard's end. Add Torghast to the Great Vault. Yeah, simple. Simple idea, but it could work. Now maybe, let's say, with rewards similar to end of dungeon at eye level, so not the dungeon chest. So when you do M+, you get an end of dungeon loot, but also then that goes towards a great chest, the great chest being far higher reward level. We're going to simply say the reward is akin to when you finish the dungeon. So let's say you complete both your weekly Torghast runs, something we have to do on any level. So you can do your level 1s of Torghast. If you do both of them, then that'll give you, say, a 183 item. Complete both your weekly runs at max level gives you, I don't know, 200 item level. Then completing Twisting Corridors, the big one, could reward you with, I don't know, a 210. Something like that. Now, before people start screaming and going either those numbers are too low, the numbers are too high, whatever it may be, I've just picked those numbers out of the air to simply show how the system could work. You can even do it that you don't include your normal Torghast runs. After all, they are giving you Ash to go towards your legendary. Instead, you could say it just counts on Twisting Corridors. So your first couple of floors give you the 183, your next give you 200, and then your final ones give you a 210. Something like that. Number 2. And number 2 is a little more out there, and I would say a lot harder to balance from Blizzard's end. But as a player, I kind of... I like this at least feeling like a constant reward. So let's get into it. What if each boss in the Twisting drops a huge, large amount of Anima, with the last boss dropping the most? Now, why give you all this Anima? But 1, it would help players catch up for those that didn't play their current class, their current character from day 1. It would also, in our new system, allow players to be able to upgrade their gear using Anima. Now, very much in the same way that you can with your Covenant Armory. So you can take a piece of Covenant gear to your Armourer, and they will upgrade that gear for you, given a set level. And it costs you Anima each upgrade. But this idea would work for all gear. Even if you got it from a world quest, wouldn't work on greens. Let's put that level in. Doesn't work on greens, but it works on blue and up from any source. So let's say maybe you get a trinket from the world quest, and you love this thing. It's just such a good trinket. Works so well for you. Well then, simply keep investing Anima into it, and it could end up becoming mythic item level. But that would take a lot of time and a massive amount of Anima to do it. So whereas a mythic raider or somebody that raids very high level mythic plus, they would get this mythic level item, and that would be them done. For somebody that wanted to upgrade it to that level, rather than doing the harder content, what they are investing is their time. But they know they can get there. It's a goal, it's a reward that they can strive towards. If I keep doing this, I keep doing Torghast, I keep getting all this Anima, eventually I can upgrade my gear to that kind of level. Now, granted, I understand that this system potentially has a lot of holes in it, and it could be abused in many ways. But it would also be a great way for alts to have a chance to catch up. It would catch up their Anima, but also catch up in terms of gear. Also, it's a way for players to feel rewarded. Even if that week they haven't got any new piece of gear, they know, oh, I can upgrade my weapon because I finally got enough Anima. Oh, that feels so good. I feel rewarded because my time and effort, something has come of it. I see a lot of people talk about how WoW is becoming like Diablo. Well, imagine completing your run in Diablo and the fighter boss, you don't get anything. You get no loot at all for the entire run for doing your Greater Rift. It's not going to feel great. I 100% back WoW's idea of going for that RPG feel. But look at all the major RPGs of recent years. Most tend to shower you in loot now. They shower you in gear, which lets you upgrade or tweak the pieces as you see fit. But it also allows you to try out different builds and playstyles. Again, something that WoW realistically doesn't cater to. There is a meta, and that's it. That's where people focus. As I said before, if I'm going to invest 2 hours into something, it would be great to have something at the end to show for it. 2 hours in Path of Exile, loads of gear. Same in Diablo, Cyberpunk, tons of loot. The Division, the list goes on and on. We all need to feel that our efforts have been rewarded. Now, speaking personally, if I had completed my run that I did on my DK and got even a small upgrade, even just an item that I'm like, this time it wasn't an upgrade, but next time it could be, I would have kept playing WoW. I would have kept diving on in and playing more that night. Instead, I just logged off and played something else because I was exhausted and just felt flat. I felt deflated, as if it had been for nothing. And that's a shame because, as I've said before, I love Shadowlands and I really like Torghast. But I can't imagine I'm the only one feeling that deflated feeling at the moment in WoW. And that's sad, and that's something that we can easily change, or Blizzard can easily tweak and fix. But I think that's certainly enough from everyone. I would actually love to hear your thoughts on this one. This is an interesting topic, and I love to see different opinions. I know a lot of people will err on the, nope, you do Mythic Plus, you do raiding, you do PvP, that's where you get your gear from, suck it up and get in that world. And others that are, hey, do what you enjoy and get rewarded for it. I don't mind. I want my content to be challenging, but I also want it to be rewarding. But thank you all for watching. Stay safe, everybody, and I will catch you all tomorrow.